Keir Starmer is no stranger to doing disaster interviews, and he's starting to set new records for himself, as they are getting worse and worse. In today's video, we will watch his latest interview. Just a warning, it is painful to watch. Keir Starmer rudely fails to answer a single question put to him. His thin-skinned, defensive body language says it all. He's cracking, rattled, unprepared, and completely out of his depth. Totally unfit to be Prime Minister. We will watch this, whilst also going over all of the latest news from up and down the country. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and join our fast-growing community. Yeah, have a watch of this disaster. Let's play a game. How many times does he avoid answering a question? Have a watch.
You are having to reset before you've even hit 100 days in government. Your envoy for the regions isn't even here at this first summit. Is this embarrassing for you, and do you have a grip on what's happening in government?
We've just had the first meeting of the Council of Nations and Regions. I've had every First Minister here, the Deputy First Minister in Northern Ireland, and all the mayors from across England. We've had a really constructive discussion about economic growth, about jobs, about investment, and even today we've had a further announcement of £24 billion investment in the United Kingdom. I set out when we won that election to change the country for the better, to stabilise the economy, and these investments that are coming in day by day, they're a drumbeat into our investment summit on Monday, which is bringing together some of the leading, CEOs across the world. So for everybody listening and watching this who's concerned to know, is there going to be investment in my region? Are there going to be jobs where I live?
Okay.
The answer is today we're going a long way down the road of collaborating to that end.
Prime Minister, will you approve Sue Gray's severance payment?
Look, we've had a really important meeting today of the Council of Regions and Nations, which is hugely important for the country. We've had a huge investment of £24 billion
whether or not you'll approve her
£24 billion of pounds, which will be replicated in jobs across the country. That is really important. And as we head towards that investment summit on Monday, a major event, and then onto the budget, we're resetting and change the way we run this country, and that's really, really important.
You'll have seen the. Could I just briefly ask about this breaking story? You'll have seen DP World pulling £1 billion of investment due to comments by your Transport Minister, your Deputy Prime Minister. Have they cost this country investment?
In the last, I think, 4 weeks, we've had at least 5 or 6 huge investments in the UK, including £24 billion today. We've got a massive investment budget summit coming up on Monday, where leading investors from across the globe are all coming to the UK. This is very, very good for the country, very, very good for the future of jobs. It's just the sort of change that we need to see.
In other news, Robert Jenrick has been accused of previously siding with Strasbourg after it was unearthed the Newark MP's pro-European Union comments ahead of the 2016 Brexit referendum. The ex-immigration minister, who saw off a challenge from Shadow Home Secretary James Cleverly to reach the members' ballot, was forced to reassure Tory MPs about his right-wing credentials amid speculation about a pivot to the centre. Jenrick entered the Tory leadership race as the only contender unequivocally dedicated to leaving the European Convention on Human Rights. However, Jenrick's critics have cast doubt on his cast-iron commitment after a number of pro-Brussels remarks were unearthed. Jenrick was far from enthusiastic about remaining in the Brussels bloc, but echoed pro-EU doomsters when it came to expressing concerns about backing Brexit. Speaking at Prime Minister's questions in June 2016, Jenrick said, "Today, British manufacturers, particularly small businesses, are worried because if we leave the European Union, they will continue to make their products to common European standards because they value the free market. They value the single market and want to export, but they are aware that the United Kingdom will have no say whatsoever in the formulation of those standards, and their competitive advantage will be destroyed." Writing in March 2016, the Newark MP added, "I am concerned about the short-term risks of leaving in terms of job losses, delays in investment coming to the UK, and risks to small businesses, as well as the larger ones. If we vote to leave, there would no doubt be risks for several years, and there would be considerable uncertainty, but I am sure as a country we would pull through it." After Jenrick's comments were unearthed, some Eurosceptics appeared to dismiss Jenrick's conversion. "There's no shame in Rob being a staunch Remainer back in 2016, a Brexit-backing Tory said. "But it does make me worry about what he really believes in. We had the same with Truss. I want to trust that he's now someone who cares about immigration numbers and will fight the European courts on deportation, but his history shows he's always sided with Strasbourg. The ECHR is not directly connected with the EU, as it was in fact the Council of Europe that created the treaty in 1950. However, given all 27 member states have signed up, the EU is considering accession to make it possible for Brussels to respond to complaints of human rights violations. Reform UK also put pressure on Jenrick after the ex-immigration minister vowed to put the Populist Party out of business. A Reform UK source told an interviewer, "Robert Jenrick can't escape the reality that he voted Remain. He tried to keep us in the European Union with open borders, and in government. He sat around the cabinet table supporting decisions that left us with the highest immigration figures on record." The reality is, Robert Jenrick wants us to believe he has had a Damascus-like conversion, but his recent record paints a very different picture. If voters want secure borders, lower taxes, and a party that proudly stands up for British people, then Reform UK is the only option. However, Jenrick appears to have pivoted on Brexit since the referendum, and is now accusing French President Emmanuel Macron of wanting to punish the UK via the Channel crossing crisis after Britain voted to leave the Brussels bloc. Jenrick, who came second to Kemi Badenoch by just one vote in the second ballot of Tory MPs, has made leaving the ECHR a key cornerstone of his Tory leadership bid. In his leadership campaign, Jenrick has repeatedly said, "It's leave or remain. I'm for leave." The 42-year-old has even warned that withdrawing from the ECHR is key to the Tory party's survival, and alleged that the SAS is being forced to kill rather than capture terrorists due to rulings made by the Strasbourg court. Speaking to GB News earlier this week, Jenrick said, "I have come to the firm conclusion that we will not secure our borders. We won't get foreign criminals out of our country. We won't tackle terrorism unless we leave the European Convention on Human Rights. It is not a reform bill. It's an organisation of 46 countries from Iceland to Andorra. You'll never get unanimity to change it, so you have to leave." He added, "That is what I want to persuade the public of. If we don't do that, then I'm afraid we will not get a grip on those really important issues. And the public are not going to give us a second or a third chance if we don't take serious action now to fix these problems." Jenrick even expressed a desire to force Tory grandees to sign up to support a withdrawal in order to serve in his shadow cabinet. However, Jenrick yesterday denied privately telling Tory MPs he would pivot back to the centre if he defeats Badenoch next month. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.